Hi, my name is Alan Wilner. I'm at the University of Southern California, and I'm one of the legions of people who is a fan of Professor Boyd. To know Bob is really to love him, and I've known Bob for over 25 years. I have the deepest respect for him, and it's just been a delight to have known him for all these years. He is incredibly giving. He loves working with people. He loves collaborating. Cares very deeply about his students, by no question about that. He is extremely selfless and completely loyal to other people. I've never heard a bad word from Bob, and he regularly tries to put himself into the other person's shoes and to try to understand their perspective. In fact, one night, I remember this goes back over a decade, where it was a conference and we went back to his room. We shared we shared a scotch, and we were just talking for a good couple of hours late at night. And of course, both of us have many students who are from all over the world, and I am someone who's of the Jewish faith, and Bob is of the Christian faith, and we talk about religion a lot. But we also both talked about all of our Muslim students. And Bob was telling me how he was looking into issues of the Muslim faith and trying to learn a little bit and to know what his students, where they come from, and to try to be to try to care about their background. And I thought that was absolutely a wonderful thing. In terms of his technical work, Bob he's infectious in terms of his enthusiasm, his excitement, his energy. There's a youthfulness. He's 70 years young, and there's this youthfulness in terms of his excitement for things, his interest in things. He just loves learning new things all the time and teaching them. He is a master teacher, and of course that comes through in his seminal textbook. So one of the in terms of his outlook, his technical outlook, it really I mentioned this when he won the Charles Towns Award, which is incredibly fitting. I said that Steve Jobs, when he gave the commencement speech at Stanford University in 2005, that he told the students as they move out into the world, stay hungry, stay foolish. And really, Bob is someone who is so intellectually curious, so enthusiastic. Even if he goes down the wrong path, he's the first person to admit that that's not the right path. He's so intellectually honest, and then he'll move on to the next thing and try to climb that mountain. And it's really quite wonderful. In fact, this I mentioned that he won the Towns Award. Charles Towns was his advisor. So I'm a great grandstudent of Charles Towns, Professor Towns. Bob is a direct student, and Bob is my granduncle, my academic granduncle. So I definitely feel the kinship to him. When I was president of OSA, I wrote 12 president's columns, and I only included one photo in the entire year because it was so special. When Bob won the Charles Towns Award, the most important thing to him when he received the award at Clio in 2016 was to have Mrs. Towns to be there. And Mrs. Towns was someone who was turning 100, just like the OSA had turned 100. And so I printed this out. So here's a photo of Bob receiving the award. They got a lift to be able to lift up Mrs. Towns, and it was just incredibly special to everyone there in the audience that Mrs. Towns was there, and that Bob spoke and spoke about, of course, about Professor Towns. And really, for all those in the audience, it was an incredible moment. I was there at when Bob saw Mrs. Towns, had breakfast with Mrs. Towns, and just the affection that he had for Mrs. Towns, and of course for the late, at that time, the late Professor Towns. Unfortunately, Mrs. Towns had passed away since then. I consider Bob to be a dear friend. I consider him to be a role model and certainly a mentor of mine. I look forward to many more years of friendship, of technical collaboration, of learning, and of trying to learn about how to stay foolish, stay hungry, technically, and also to always try to be selfless and giving as a person to all the people we know. So, Bob, happy 70 years young.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
From all of us here in Ulm, the Quantum family, as we call it, sends our warmest greetings. A lot of health, wealth, and fun with physics. I'm sorry I couldn't come. I would have loved to be in Ottawa at this time of the year, but there are too many things happening here that need my attention. Especially that's what the president says to me. Hey, you want to keep your salary or you want to travel? You have a choice. Anyways, I was thinking about what is it that I could tell about Bob, and there are many things, but then I decided I want to contrast his way of doing physics with the way we do it here in Germany. And nothing would illustrate that better than the story of a man who went to a shop to buy a parrot. And he had a special wish. He wanted to have a parrot who could talk. So he saw a parrot with beautiful feathers, really gorgeous, and he asked the shop owner, does this parrot talk? And the shop owner says, oh yeah, the guy talks a lot. He says, how much does it cost? And he says, oh, 2,000 euro. 2,000 euro? That's a lot of money. He says, yeah, but the guy knows non-relativistic quantum mechanics, and he can discuss with you non-relativistic quantum mechanics. He said, well, that's impressive. How about the other parrot? And the shop owner says, he costs 10,000 euro. 10,000 euro for a parrot? He says, can he talk? He says, oh, he talks a lot. He talks a lot, and especially he talks quantum field theory, relativistic quantum field theory. He says, well, what about this guy here? So they looked at a third parrot. The third parrot had lost all of his feathers. He was pretty old. He looked miserable. And he says, what about this guy? How much is he? The shop owner says 50,000 euro. 50,000? What can this guy do? He says, we haven't figured it out, but the other two guys call him professor. So what I'm trying to say, Bob, is you're not that type of guy. I've always enjoyed working with you, discussing with you. You're deep into it. I'm really sorry I couldn't come. And now I hand over to Enno, who is going to tell a couple of stories from his interactions and whatever comes to his mind.
So first of all, also thank you for the invitation. I'm very sad that I can't be there. When I started my postdoc with Bob, it was, I was just coming out of my PhD, starting there, and it was really an amazing time. I decided to come to Ottawa because during the job interview, it wasn't really a usual job interview. He just said, I want you to watch me do physics or to lead my group. So he had just his usual group discussions. All the students came in and we're talking at the whiteboard about their experiments and everything. And I decided to join the group because I saw the spark in Bob's eye when he was doing physics and talking to students and supervising students. And that is the reason. And I hope, Bob, that you don't lose the spark for the next 10 years that you will work as a professor. So thanks again for everything. And I hope you have a great party and a great time in Ottawa. See you soon.
Take care, and I'm sorry we are not there. We would have loved to eat the food and enjoy the discussions and enjoy probably the colorful trees out in the countryside.
The maple trees.
Maple trees. Okay.
it's Miles here from Scotland. I hope you're really enjoying your day. You certainly deserve to. I was trying to think of what to say, but it seems somewhat spoilt for choice. So I thought I could perhaps talk about the time that you turned up to a conference in Trieste. You were wearing the full official outfit of a gondolier. It seems that you'd been to Venice and you were so impressed with the uniform that you had bought one. I'm somewhat concerned, however, that might be in breach of union regulations, so I think we'll give that a miss. I could talk about the time when I carried for you your new full Highland dress, including Scottish kilt, through US Customs. And unfortunately, I'd forgotten that also included a little dagger, which one was meant to put in one's sock. But I'm worried if I do that, then we might attract the interest of Homeland Security. So instead, I thought I'd mention the time that you and I drove together down to a castle on the border between Scotland and England, and we'd gone there to see a drawing by Leonardo da Vinci. Unfortunately, when we arrived, we discovered that the drawing had been stolen, apparently by a man in a gondola wearing a kilt. It seems, however, they never caught him, and indeed, I hope they never shall. So, all the best.
Happy birthday, Bob. I hope you're having a great time and a wonderful celebration on your birthday today. You and I have known each other for many years, and you have been one of my great friends for decades. It's a great honor for me to know you as a dear friend and a wonderful colleague and collaborator. You are one of my role models, and I've always learned from you. Thank you so much for the great friendship, and I look forward to many more years of friendship and collaboration with you in the years to come. Happy birthday.
I'm pleased, however, to have the opportunity to claim that I've known you longer than anyone else here. Undergraduate, MIT, that was a while ago, a story that I'll tell at my talk. I also appreciated your books, your nonlinear optics book, your photodetector book, and your lectures. In general, Bob, you've been a hero of our profession. We appreciate you, and I'm glad to have watched you grow up. God bless.
Happy birthday!